Why bother? Monsters are all the same. Plus, when we get back home, it won't even matter. Dorn scoffed at the halfling. Ewix replied, Well, who knows? Maybe they exist in Faerun, and no one's seen them yet. Maybe in the Underdark? Perhaps. Plus, any trophies we can gather might sell for a pretty gold piece when we get back home. Dorn immediately perked up and loudly said, Well, why didn't you say so? Let's go study some monsters. Baz rolled his eyes. Hello everyone, Logos Running Doors here with another D&D video. As someone who wants to eventually run a D&D campaign in the land of Hyrule, I'm needing to find monsters to use in this game as I plan it out. However, creating all of the monsters from the ground up would take forever. So what I have here is a list of monsters found in Zelda, and I have taken the closest thing I can find in the good old monster manual and put the two together. So if you end up running a campaign in Hyrule, you won't have to start from scratch. Just use these stat blocks and don't worry about anything. So let's get started. I will explain my reasoning when I need to. I feel like most of my choices should be pretty self-explanatory, so let's get started. For the Bokoblin, I have the Goblin. They are literally the same thing. For the Moblin, I have the Bugbear. Moblins are just big Bokoblins, and Bugbears are just big goblins. There you go. For the Lizalfos here, I have the Half-Dragon. It might seem like a weird choice. I thought about using the Lizard Folk stat block. However, Lizard Folk do not have breath weapons. Lizalfos have been able to use various breath weapons in multiple Zelda games. Just use whatever element you want instead of the fire one in the Monster Manual stat block. Just use the same stats for the attack, the same dice, everything, just swap out the elemental type. For the Stalfos, I put down the white, big undead guy. Pretty self-explanatory. For the Stallchild, I used a skeleton. Stallchild is somewhat interesting because it's obviously not a human skeleton. I am personally believe that it's a Bokoblin skeleton, but Bokoblins weren't invented until much later on in the series, so I don't know. Anyway, next up is the Tauros. Bit of weird choice. As far as I know, they are only in the game A Link to the Past. A lot of you may have not even seen this enemy before, but here you go. Here's a picture of it. I have, as a replacement, the Minotaur. Again, literally the same thing. For the boss Bokoblin seen in Tears of the Kingdom, and I also think Skyward Sword. I think those are boss Bokoblins, but I'm not too sure. Anyway, for the boss Bokoblin, use the Hill Giant. For the mysterious and undead Poe, I would either use a ghost or a specter, depending on, level of party and what you want to do with said Poe. The easiest one on the list to figure out, the Hinox. Just use a Cyclops. For the Tektite, use an Inkeg and describe its movement as jumping rather than clawing. Also, maybe take away its acid breath attack. I don't know. I don't think anyone would bat an eye if a Tektite starts spewing acid. And last on our list is the Gibdo. This version of the Gibdo. Go ahead and use a mummy for that, as they are literally just mummies. Wow. That's it for this list. I feel like that gives a pretty good variety of enemies to fight in the land of Hyrule. But remember, this is D&D, so literally anything is possible. You want a beholder to be in the land of Hyrule? You want a doppelganger? You want a vampire? Go for it. Have fun. The next video I have planned is actually going to be one more Zelda enemy before moving on from the land of Hyrule. The Gibdo. But didn't you just have the Gibdo on the list already here? I hear you asking. Yes, but this is going to be the Tears of the Kingdom version of the enemy, the Gibdo, which is clearly different from a mummy. This video is going to contain some theory crafting, so if you're a fan of that sort of content, be sure to subscribe and keep an eye out. Anyway, this is Zach with Logos Run Indoors. If you like what you saw, go ahead and subscribe, and whatever your favorite YouTuber says at the end of their videos, pretend I said that. Thanks.